That was Sala Songani there doing what he knows best for FC Platinum against Highlanders in the Castle Challenge Cup, the 2020 Premier Soccer League season opener at Barbourfield Stadium this past weekend. It's very unfortunate Songani and company will have to wait a bit longer to show their class. The season has a lot of hurdles, chief among them the coronavirus pandemic. Hello and welcome to the couch. My name is Howard Musonza.
And I'm Charmaine Chasweka. It's good to have you again on your favorite football show. We're looking great as always, and it's special thanks to our wardrobe sponsors, Forme and our partners Gital. Remember, you guys can also give us your feedback on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Zimbabwe's TV network. On YouTube, we are ZTN. And on Twitter, we are ZTN News.
Yeah, on the couch, as usual, the couch squad is here. Makomborero, Mutimukulu, and Moyo. Yeah, look, not much in terms of sporting action because of the coronavirus. How was your week?
No, the week was good. Islanders were disappointing, but the week was good.
You were not in Malawi. Perhaps golf?
Yeah, I was not invited.
I wasn't in Blue, but you guys did a good job. Well done, guys.
Okay.
I was live streaming. I watched you, yeah.
Okay.
Well, remember, in the house we have a special guest today, and he goes by the name Probeatz. He's actually one of the most talented artists that we have in Zimbabwe. It's good to have you on the couch, Pro.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. You know what? I don't know, like, why did you pick to do, you know, beatboxing out of all the arts in Zimbabwe? It's very unique.
Well, I mean, I've been a dancer, a rapper, but beatboxing is what I do best. It's what I love doing. So yeah.
So is it a skill or it's something that you're, you know, born with?
I think it's both. It's a bit of both. Yeah, it's a bit of both.
But how did you like realize that you can actually beatbox?
Well, you know, I used to make weird sounds when I was, you know, in primary school. You know, just make a sound, and then the teacher will be asking, "Jenadar," or you know, that type of thing. Yeah. But I mean, growing up, I actually realized that it was a form of art. You know, beatboxing is a form of art.
And before I knew you, I never knew any beatboxers in Zimbabwe. So are you the only one?
No, there are quite a number of beatboxers in Zimbabwe. Yeah. They're just a bit on the low, but yeah, you'll see them soon.
All right.
You see them
Can you please give us something?
Yeah, sure.
Welcome to the college. Ladies and gentlemen, the college.
Wow.
What has just happened?
The beat happened.
The beat happened.
The beat happened.
How many people are there?
It's just me.
Oh, okay.
It's just me, man. Me and my mouth.
I had different sounds at the same time. I thought maybe
it's actually one sound at a time, but then it's how you do the sounds.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Oh. Nice.
Yeah.
Howard just whispered something. He said he wants to try.
You want to try?
No, I'll try. No, I'll try. Don't worry. I'll try at the end of the show. Just stay with us. We will come back and hear more about, you know, this sounds, how you came to do that, and you said you are a rapper as well, a dancer as well. Maybe you can break one or two. So yeah, we'll come back to you.
try.
Probeatz, our artist for today, and our topic is about the 2020 season, which will now only start around June. And we are saying, will the Premier Soccer League be ready by then? And how will they adjust to the delay? But before we dig deep, we look at other football stories.
So Euro 2020 has been postponed by 1 year until 2021 because of the coronavirus pandemic. European football's governing body made the decision on Tuesday. The tournament, which was set for June 12th to July 12th, will now run from June 11 to July 11 next year. But that, of course, will depend on the situation with, this pandemic.
Yeah, so this is the situation that we find ourselves in. Because I asked Marco when we started how his weekend was, because I know he's a sports person. Maybe watching Manchester United, maybe go for a boozers, social football game. But it's I think your life is got to do more with what you watch, maybe on television. Right. But there is no sport happening. Euro 2020 postponed for a whole year.
Yeah, but I think it was a good decision by UEFA. They made a decision. It makes sense, doesn't it? Put it on ice for a year. Because the financial repercussions are huge. Because everything would have been set for them to do that. But the teams cannot come when their leagues haven't finished. So they said, let's move it to a year ahead. And hopefully these guys would have finished their leagues. But I think global sport has never faced anything like this. There's no template as to how you handle situations like this. So every decision, a good decision is never too late, isn't it? So it is a good decision. Hopefully the world will get to grips with this thing and sport will continue. But as we are now, I think life is more important than sport.
Yeah, Makomborero looks at the business side, of things. Sport, yes, but we know sport is a big business the world over, and Euro 2020. You look at all the spectators who had booked, accommodation, the teams, the facilities, everything. It just came to a screeching halt.
Howard, it's very difficult to comprehend what is happening right now, and you're speaking about the loss in terms of the finance, the business side of everything, but for us as fans as well, it's very difficult to live without soccer. I'm used to saying Wednesday I'm watching this, Thursday I'm watching this, weekend I'm watching. When there is no sport, it's very difficult. And when there is no sport, because there's a break, there is an adjustment that you do to your mind. And when there is no sport and you don't even know when it's going to come back, it's very, very difficult. And I can say I'm really hurt right now. It's difficult for me.
Yeah, you're watching The Couch right here on Zimbabwe's TV network. Staying in Europe, Juventus midfielder Blaise Matuidi is the latest football player to test positive for the coronavirus. The French World Cup winner has been in voluntary isolation since the 11th of March. The 32-year-old is the second Juve player to be confirmed to have the virus, following centre-back Daniele Rugani last week.
Real Madrid are already making plans for the next transfer break and could let Wales forward Gareth Bale leave on a free transfer. Remember, Zidane, has always wanted to get rid of the player for a long time now. His, injury record relationship with the coach and massive wage bill seems, they push factors.
Yeah, I mean, look, he hasn't been what they wanted him to be. Especially when Cristiano left, they wanted somebody to replace him. They thought Gareth Bale would do. The only thing I remember him doing is scoring one good goal in the Clasico, the one that he outpaced and went out of the field and scored. But apart from that, he has been a liability. And then the question is, who will be able to take him with those huge wages? I mean, he has been a disappointment. There was talk linking him to Manchester United, but I don't think he will do it Old Trafford. He's that kind of player that doesn't deliver. He doesn't give you the body language that he wants to deliver. He doesn't look like he wants to play, but he can play. He can score good goals, 1 or 2, but his body language is not there. His injury record as well. And I think Zinedine Zidane has made it not a secret that he doesn't like the man. So if the coach doesn't like you, then You have to work twice as much for half as much, but Gareth Bale doesn't work as much.
You're watching The Couch on Zimbabwe's TV network.
So here on The Couch, we've got something to give away thanks to our partners GTEL. All you need to do is to answer the following questions. What was the scoreline between FC Platinum and Highlanders in the Castle Challenge Cup that was played over the weekend? Number 2, which 4 teams gained promotion into the Premier Soccer League for the 2020 season? And which 4 teams were relegated from the Premier Soccer League after the end of the 2019 season? Don't forget to hashtag The Couch and give your answer on our social media platforms. When we come back, we take a look at what coronavirus means to the Premier Soccer League and discuss security and violence at the Premier Soccer League matches. You're watching The Couch right here on Zimbabwe's TV network. Whichever way you look at it right now, it has been coronavirus and it has become a global pandemic. Such is the seriousness of the virus that Zimbabwe's head of state yesterday announced measures that should be followed to safeguard everyone. And these also apply to the Premier Soccer League. We hear what President Emmerson Mnangagwa said in his address to Zimbabweans yesterday.
Government has decided to postpone, curtail or cancel public events, gatherings and activities. In that respect, government has postponed the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, ZITF. All national independence celebrations previously planned and the pending international sporting fixtures until the threat of coronavirus recedes. All these activities will resume as soon as we are satisfied that our nation is no longer at risk. Gatherings of more than 100 people, including those for purposes of worship and weddings, stand suspended for the next 60 days, after which the suspension will be reviewed.
As the president of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa, they're talking about, the measures that the government of Zimbabwe has put in place. The world over, we have seen how coronavirus has affected people. We were talking about Euro 2020 being postponed. A number of big events have actually been postponed. And Zimbabwe has followed suit, although we don't have any confirmed cases of coronavirus. But these are preventative measures.
Yeah, being proactive. I think nothing beats being proactive. We had to record the case, but we need to guard against its spread. The good thing is the head of state has led the way. And then after that, we had also Ziva saying, apart from international football, all other football activities that are affiliated to Ziva have been put on ice. And it is a good move.
So a gathering of more than 100 people, look, this is what you normally find at football games, whether it's Dynamos or Caps playing, the crowd is so huge. But Mako says it's all about safeguarding the lives of people. But on the flip side, you've got footballers who've been preparing for a season. We had the season opener and, mentally you're psyched for something and it doesn't happen. How do they now spend their time? Do they go back into training or should they stop completely?
For Zimbabwe at the moment, I would say, since there is no case that has been recorded, we would then probably have to follow the precautions that have been laid out. We need to be hygienic and to do whatever we can. Probably in terms of sporting events or sporting teams, we should actually keep on training until such a time when the threat is actually maybe on your door. But I think from a personal level, we should start to be hygienic. From a group level, all that we need. And if like a team is training, if you know you're not okay, you should not be part of that team training, just to safeguard the health of the other players and everything. But I think they should continue preparing, because it may go as quickly as it came, and you may be required to be back on the pitch. So they should continue preparing.
Probeatz, let me bring in you quickly into this discussion. You're an artist.
Yeah.
Yes, this is not only confined to football. I suppose we're talking about football issues.
Yeah.
A gathering of more than 100 people, you can't do that. But how do you survive as an artist? Because the same fans that go to watch football games are the same fans that probably come to see your performances.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult, man. But especially for artists, is live as we go. But you know, we had a lot of plans because I heard about Burna Boy's show getting cancelled and Japre's show getting cancelled as well. So that means you'll have to cancel all your plans. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, every time you go perform, obviously we get people that are more than 100, you know, that will come through to, you know. But I mean, at the same time, it's good that we haven't recorded any cases in Zimbabwe. So I think it should stay like that. So I'm happy that the president said that we shouldn't, you know, link up people more than 100 and whatever, so that it doesn't spread the virus, you know. I mean, it's bad for us artists, but it's good for the humans.
No, it's also good for the couch. You come and perform on the couch.
Yeah, it's also good for the couch. I mean, people get to watch us on, on TV.
Well, we also
more
spoke
numbers.
to the PSL spokesperson, Kudzai on the issue, and this is what she had to say.
In relation to the coronavirus epidemic, really we stand guided by the government of Zimbabwe. I'm sure you're aware that the president issued a statement on that, whereby he declared it a national disaster. So as the PSL, we don't have football to talk about. We won't be having matches until the government says otherwise.
That's because I about it, PSL spokesman. But when was it going to start?
It was about, I had no idea. In which are the teams that were supposed to be in the league. We have absolutely no idea.
So I think this also gives you know, teams. I remember, I can't preempt what we're going to talk about, but there are some other teams that are not affiliated to the Premier Soccer League. Maybe these give them ample time to sort their houses.
No, it also gives these guys time to set the rentals mess. Is the rentals in or out? That's a big question. What is the decision? If they go down, Miraman. If they go down, who is coming up? All that, I think it just needs to be fixed, isn't it? It also gives us time to fix our stadiums.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives us time to sort out our mess. So in every dark cloud, there's a silver lining. That's the silver lining. Sort our house in order, and then we'll see how we do it.
Don't worry, Mo. Next time I'm going to bring my cards. I'll give him a red card. Don't worry.
I like what Kudzai was saying there about following government directive. But that is not happening in South Africa. The government comes and says soccer can continue without funds. SAFA says no sport. So what's happening? I don't know.
In South Africa?
In South Africa right now.
Yeah, but they will be having an Indaba tomorrow to
do,
find a solution to that, because SAFA is the custodians of football in South Africa. Look, nothing precedes that.
But the government says, the government minister comes and says, you can play. The league has got to finish.
Behind closed doors?
Yeah, behind closed doors.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah. Fortunately for us, the PSL is following the government procedure.
All right, Probeatz is in the house. You know, I'm still amazed by what you did that time. So, what I want to know, do you listen to some instruments, then try probably to imitate what you have, or you create your own totally?
I mean, I also get to create my own stuff, because with beatboxing, you don't stop learning. It's a culture that keeps, you know, that keeps growing, and it's a style that keeps, you know, growing as well. So I mean, with me, if I like a song, I just listen to a song once, twice, thrice. If I like it, I beatbox it.
How long have you been at this?
Since 2009.
2009.
Yeah, but I've been doing it professionally since 2012.
Oh, so it's paying. It's paying. It's paying.
Well, it does pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
It does pay the bills. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to teach me how to beatbox, because I don't know many beatboxers. I only know you, so maybe in
Yeah.
You guys, you can't.
I mean, it's a culture that's growing in Zimbabwe, and I'm happy that it's growing, because, you know, I mean, I remember in 2010 there was a function that I went to beatbox, and you know, people were just looking at me like, what is he doing? you know. But then now I've noticed that whenever I go on stage, even sometimes when I get introduced, you know, I've got like 5 or 10 people saying, yeah, you know, people that know me already. So that means, you know, it's the culture is growing. You know, people are starting to understand what it is.
So
you know.
do other artists come to you and say, we want you to feature on our track, and you do your beatboxing?
I've worked with a couple of artists, but I don't know why they haven't released it yet. Maybe it's because I'm not that good, but I'm still, you know, I'm still working on my craft.
So one other question.
Yeah.
Do you have albums?
Yeah, I've got an album that's coming out.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I was supposed to do an album launch on the 27th of March, but we all know the story.
Corona happened.
You know, but I mean, you know, as an artist, you have to be creative all the time. You know, that doesn't mean I have to stop.
Yeah, but you can always come to.
I can always come to you know, bring my band, and then maybe we can perform live on TV.
Exactly. Then you can launch your album.
And then I can launch my album. You know, that's even bigger. You know, because I was expecting an audience of like 100 people, but then ZTN, you know, you get like. You know, I don't know, 50,000? I don't know.
More than that. More than that. Because we live streamed a match this past weekend, and what numbers did we hit?
600,000.
Nearly 600,000.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And apologizing for it. No, we're not. It's just true.
It's right there. You can go on our Facebook page and you see it.
Okay, so is this an invite? Like,
Yes.
just to be clear.
You can do something for us again.
Yeah, sure. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me take you way back into sound. The African remix.
You're amazing.
Thank you, guys.
So to my African drum,
To my African drum, yeah.
But I have a question, you know, like, yeah, you did say that beatboxing actually pays the bills for you.
Yeah.
But do you have like a fallback plan in case one day you wake up and your throat
I mean, if you put the work in, you don't need a plan B. You know, because I'm doing what I love. At the end of the day, it's not about the returns. It's what I'm doing what I love. You know, like these guys are talking about sport. I'm sure they're passionate about sport. It's not about the car you drive, the house you stay in, but you know, it's about dying, doing what you love. That's what I believe in. You know, if the returns are going to come, they're definitely going to come. But I'm doing what I love.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll come back to you. Also, the assumption and everyone's prayer is that, you know, coronavirus is stopped in the few coming years. In such an event, the PSL will need to start. But now the violence witnessed at Barberfields is another, you know, virus. Yes, PSL said they will punish Highlanders for the behavior of their fans when FC Platinum beat Highlanders 2-0. But, you know, will this be the end of such scenes, not just at Barberfields, but at other stadiums across the country?
Yeah, just to give a background on this other virus that we are not talking about, it's the virus of violence. And this past weekend, the game between FC Platinum and Highlanders, the Castle Challenge Cup, towards the end, it was towards the end of the game. I think it was time added on. Yeah. Highlanders supporters went on a rampage. They first went to the bay that was housing the FC Platinum fans and started chasing them, and they invaded the pitch, the FC Platinum fans. So they started throwing missiles, and look, it was something else. Makomborero, you were there. You know, you are live streaming a game. There is nothing much happening, and this is the only game that's that's giving, you know, people something to talk about.
Yeah, true.
And it gives people a lot to talk about. Yeah, because you look at those pictures there. Imagine we've got CAF inspectors who were in the country a couple of days back, and they were commending the work that was being done at Barberfield Stadium, tried to, to uplift the face of Barberfield Stadium, and you've got those guys.
So we were like, we do the commentary, and guys start to do that. Then in the back of your mind, you start questioning, how do I put words to this action? Is it worth it? Should I describe this, that there's a guy who has made his way up from there and is just taken a whole iron pipe and wants to assault a police officer? Whilst that is happening, there's a lady who comes through. Then you realize that we are in a mess as a country, as a footballing nation. I don't think this is what Pele meant when he said this is the world's most beautiful game. What are they protesting? Because the referee didn't give them a raw deal. Were the goals scored by FC Platinum genuine? Yes, they were. So what then was the trigger? You get a feeling that these guys probably were angry with how Islanders played. But there are better ways of showing your displeasure than this. There are way, way better ways. You look at this, we read a comment by a guy in Italy who said, so why are they now fighting after a very good game? You don't have an answer to that. You don't have.
So, coming to you, Mo, you played the game before, at the highest level. You've been to Barberfield Stadium before.
Yeah.
When you are a player and things like that are happening, what goes through your mind?
Howard, I want to say I actually experienced it at Barberfields when I was still playing for Baimu. We beat them 1-0, a Sebastian Matende goal. And after the match, instead of us just going out nicely and going away, the fans were actually waiting for us. We had to have police escort out of Barberfields, and it's actually very frightening. I want to say during my playing time, we never really enjoyed going to BF. One other thing that I play at the national. So it was really frightening. As the custodian happens when Highlanders loses.
So how do you, from what Mo is saying, how do you punish Highlanders? Because is this something within their control?
Yes, it is. It is within their control. They're their fans. Ultimately, clubs are responsible for the behavior of the fans. You look at that clip, Howard, towards the end.
The first place?
I don't know. It is
because now I'm looking at brought in the aspect of marshals. So it's situation.
No, I don't think it is. For the police, I think they did a good job. I thought they handled it for such kind of other side action other than making sure that football is played in. But they need to accept defeat and also to accept that Highlanders, as a football club, as it stands now, those boys are not good enough to play for Highlanders. I know we got a lot of flack, people saying these guys, they hate Highlanders. But if truth be told, Highlanders were shameful. And of the boys who wore that black and white strip that day, very few are worthy to play for Highlanders. The first thing that Highlanders Football Club needs to accept is that the boys that we have now are not good enough to play for Highlanders. This is not the Highlanders of old. You know, in this nation, we need Highlanders in form, we need Caps United in form, and we need Dynamos in form. Without those big three, football may be played, but the excitement will be gone. So we need the Highlanders to put their house in order and their fans to behave as well.
So how do we stop this scourge, this issue of violence? How do we stop it? Because from your days, from your heyday, you witnessed such scenarios. How do we stop it? Because we want to nip this in the bud. How do we do it?
I think the PSL should maybe punish Islanders by making sure that they play inside an empty stadium, or they play their home matches away from home.
The fans are still going to follow?
No, still in an empty stadium.
Oh, away from home.
Away from home, just to make sure that, because everything else has failed. I think Islanders has been fined, I don't know how many times. I'm not saying Islanders is the only club that does that. Even at Trufaro, Dynamos, they don't like losing. But Dynamos, normally they would not fight the opposition, they would fight the coaches, they fight amongst themselves.
Players.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Islanders now, everybody else who is there are in danger. You remember they destroyed Mucheke Stadium and the community surrounding the stadium after they lost to Masvingo 1 year. So I think if you could take away that privilege of playing at Baba Fields and play in Wange without their fans for a period of time, maybe the fans would then appreciate a little bit more.
All right, here on the couch, we have something to give away. Thanks to our partners, GTL. All you need to do is answer the following questions. What was the scoreline between FC Platinum and Highlanders in the Castle Challenge Cup this past weekend? Number 2, which 4 teams gained promotion into the Premier Soccer League for the 2020 season? And the third one, which 4 teams were relegated from the Premier Soccer League after the end of the 2019 season? Don't forget to hashtag the couch and give your answer on our social media platforms. When we come back, we look at the issue of stadia and affiliation fees in the Premier Soccer League.
So the Zimbabwe Football Association have condemned stadia in Harare, and they say the stadiums, which include Rufaro and National Sports Stadium, could make the grade, when their renovations are complete. Stadiums that have passed the test include Baba Fields, Gibo, Luveve, Baobab, Mandava, and Vengere. Now, this is, another blow for PSL, considering a number of teams in the capital.
Yeah, we are discussing the 2020 season, and we are saying, is the Premier Soccer League ready? There are, of course, a lot of factors at play. For now, we hear what the Premier Soccer League spokesperson Kuzaibare has to say about the stadium crisis.
Well, in terms of our stadiums, really, it's an issue that is before the ZIFA first instance body. But as the PSL, we are confident and hopeful that during this ban, the local authorities and stadium owners will take this time to work on the stadiums, on the requirements, so that they can at least meet what's required by the FIB. So
year in, year out, we've got this crisis of stadiums. So if you go around, you ask people what's really going on, because these are the stadiums that are going to be hosting matches. You've got Mandava, Izishavane, Baobab in the southeast Lowveld, and Vengere in Manicaland. You've got Luveve, you've got Gibo and Baba Fields. So 2, 4, 6, but there is no football to talk about in Harare.
Howard, I refuse to believe that Vengere Stadium is in a better shape than the National Sports Stadium. Clearly then there's something wrong with that. Where Vengere Stadium, if Vengere Stadium passes the test, the National Sports Stadium should not be tested at all. So it shows you that this first instant board You just hear of one Xolisani Gwesela who uses words like homologated instead of approved. Who else is there? Are they clear on what needs to be done? Okay, that aside, the stadiums need to be fixed. I also believe that it would have sent conflicting signals. For the first instance, board to say, okay, Rufaro can host Premier Soccer League matches but cannot host international matches. But over the 60 days, I think there should be work and a lot of scrutiny of how guys are doing. Suddenly, the city council got banned by H Metro. And every move they make at Gwanzura Stadium, now they post on social media. Now I know that there's a ball at Gwanzura. I know that they'll be laying the lawn in the not so distant future. And probably in 60 days, I think the stadium will be ready for use. What we need to do is to make sure that we take these issues seriously, but also the bigger picture. It's about time that teams like Dynamos and Cape United have their own stadiums. Now they let Eric Rosen had a vision. You cannot have a family that doesn't have a home. A team that was formed in 1963 is still homeless, busless. What they have is 7 million fans.
Yeah, they've got a bus now.
It's a donated bus.
Yeah.
And they don't have. It's a donated bus. But I think they need to sort it out. Imagine if Dynamos at the stadium, Cape United their own stadium. For always intents and purposes, Black Rhinos should have their own. Because the Army side should have a stadium. If those guys had stadiums, this pressure would be gone.
Probeatz, which team do you support locally?
Well, my dad was a Dynamo supporter. He's still a Dynamo supporter. So I think I support Dynamo.
He says you're homeless.
I didn't even know, man.
Now you know.
Now I know.
Yeah, they're homeless.
I didn't even know that we were homeless.
Yeah, but that's the situation that we found ourselves in. The issue of stadiums in Zimbabwe, it's a crisis.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sure you heard about us going to play in South Africa against Nigeria.
Yeah,
So this is where it's starting. Because already we're talking of a situation where in Harare we don't have an approved stadium. So you don't have anywhere to go and watch your Dynamos.
Oh, that's
you need to go probably to Mondoro Ngezi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Howard, I just want to comment on what Marco said about Fengere Stadium and the National Sports Stadium. I think Marco is looking at the outside infrastructure and the size and the look and if you're going to look at that, probably the National Sports Stadium looks better than Fengere. But if you go to
what should we look at?
We should look at the facilities that are going to be used by the teams.
Okay, let's have Fengere and the National Sports Stadium.
Yes, if you look at Fengere right now, they've got brand new changing rooms. One, the National Sports has got these changing rooms are in a very bad state. The playing pitch itself, it's very good at Fengere. What they did was they continued to maintain it even after the season was closed. So it's in a very good shape. You can go to the National Sports Stadium. I think if you start walking now, in 30 minutes you should be there.
We are still on the show. We're still on the show.
Just for you to go and see.
You want me to go now?
No, the pitch is in a bad state.
Oh.
If you go to Fengere right now, they've got a playable pitch. The grandstands and everything, what it is, it's way much better. It's in a good state. It's playable. So I'm saying what really needs to happen is the teams that use those facilities in Harare, they should be the ones who are going to be pushing the council to say, okay, as the Dynamos we will be using Rufaro, how far are we with renovations and everything and making sure that they update the PSL. And they're not doing that.
So they've been given a grace period here. For what, 60 days?
60 days.
60 days. So are we going to see a situation whereby maybe in 60 days' time, Rufaro Stadium will be, what's that word?
Homologate. I think definitely, because if you look at Rufaro Stadium, the Harare City Council has already been working on it. Besides the fact that CAF, it has been disqualified by CAF a long time ago. The National Sports Stadium, the government has taken over the renovations and refurbishments of everything there. So I'm definitely sure that we will have the stadium ready. And I also hear Rhinos or the other army side, they want to use Lafarge. So probably they will also they will be done in 60 days to make sure that the stadium is in good shape to host matches.
Okay.
Interesting revelations from the Couch Squad. So remember, guys, we have Probeatz in the house. Yeah, so Probeatz, you know, I want to ask something. You know, like, I'll take you back to 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best years of your life.
Yeah, it was. It was.
When you won Dream Star.
Yeah, when I won Dream Star. Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Well, I mean, it was quite uplifting for me because, like I said, people never used to look at beatboxing as something that was serious, you know. But then when I won that competition, I found other people trying to learn how to beatbox. You know, that means you're doing something with it. You know, it made a mark. So yeah, it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling.
So for you, that was like the biggest highlight.
Yeah, it was the biggest highlight since that
But
time.
from that time up to now, what can you say that, you know, this I've achieved in my beatboxing career?
Like what I'm saying, I've traveled to, you know, so many places that I never thought I would go to. You know, I've met so many people, I've met so many big artists, and I've got a lot of you know, collaborations coming soon. You know, so I mean, it's been a journey, man. It's been a journey. Yeah.
So I know there are a lot of people who are watching right now, and I'm a dad. I've got kids. I'm trying to imagine. My son comes home and says, "Dad, I want to be a beatboxer."
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what beatboxing was, and now you've explained. How did your parents take it that you wanted to do beatboxing?
Well, I mean, you know my African parents just be like, you know what, he's at school days. You know, like, what are you planning to do with your life? Yeah, you know. But I mean, 2015 wasn't the only time I won a competition. In 2012, I won a competition as well. You know, and then I got a residential stand, and then I got all these gifts. You know, so I mean, when I was a day, and they're like, oh, okay, cool.
It's actually paying off.
Yeah, this is what's happening. You know, so I mean, I always believe it's all about doing what you love. And my parents, because my dad wanted me to be a soccer player, like, you know. He wanted me to be a soccer player. Like, I used to play soccer as well, but then I grew up in Fakose. So there was so much nepotism for me, you know, like if you don't pay the coach, you don't play, you know, all these things. So it just put me off, you know. And then that's when I started realizing, you know what, I can actually do something with either singing or... Initially, I wanted to be a singer or, you know, play an instrument. But then I was like, okay, I can be the instrument. You know, so I mean, my mom was against it, my dad was against it, but then with time they were like, you know what, this boy, this is what he loves to do. At least I sweet I'm scans, so let him just do what he does.
Fire man, you can do your beatboxing. Ask more. The way they sing.
I mean, I still play. I mean, I still play. Maybe in the chance we end up with Premier League, but you know.
You need to talk to more, but no come on with 5.
That's what I'm talking social soccer.
This guy, even at his peak, he wasn't very good enough.
Ouch, I felt that for you more.
We all know it's not. I would never respond to that.
I'm going to ask this for the ladies. Are you married, dating, single?
I don't like to talk about those things. just talk about beatbox.
Please give us something.
if you guys remember that song.
Yeah, no, remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to hook you up with Babashiro.
Yeah.
Man, you should come to my show, man. It's even better with the loop station.
Yeah?
You know, yeah, because I always move around with the loop station and all that, you know. But you should definitely come through for my show.
Why didn't you bring it?
I was going to bring it, but then I was like, no, you know what, for now, let me go and use the mic so that, you know, I'll be able to come back next time. Now that you know I've got a loop station, you're going to invite me the next time, you know?
we are definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, so there is also the issue of affiliation fees and news that some of the clubs are failing to pay. Premier Soccer League spokesperson Kuzaibare had this to say.
Also had the issue of affiliation. We had WOW, 10X and Bulawayo City who had not paid their affiliation by the time we had our AGM sometime last week. So that has been the delay, but in terms of finalizing the issue, it should be finalized very soon, and we are looking to sign with our sponsor.
So that's the other issue. We're talking about the readiness of the Premier Soccer League. So if the season was about to start maybe this coming weekend, WOW, 10X have not paid their affiliation fees. I don't know if this is a bit too much, but is there any seriousness?
Well, look, this is the result that you get when you have 4 regional Division 1 teams where the ultimate prize is to play national football. It's fair and fine for the Zimbabwe Prison Service to have 2 teams that play regional football because you really do not go very far from your base. But now you're going to play Premiership football. These are the results. Dito last year, Mushowani, they were promoted financially. Pulling a team in the Premier Soccer League is a heavy burden. And I'm glad that we got to a position where we are right now, where teams are failing to pay. The people that deserve can afford to pay to affiliate Premier Soccer League football. They should play. Remember last season we said it's very sad that Tier 1 got relegated. Not because they're a very good team, but because financially they're stable. Essentially, those are the teams that you want to play. And for all intents and purposes, if these 2 teams cannot raise affiliation fees now, imagine the trip of going to Kariba, coming back and going to Bulawayo. You play at home against Manika Diamonds, you get 42 fans, and you go to Bulawayo to play Chicken Inn. You hear that this team has not pitched up. And you as a team would have gone to Bulawayo intending to live stream a game between Hawawa and Highlanders. You're there, your cameras are set up, and Hawawa don't pitch up. So really, if these teams cannot afford now, they might as well give it up now. Not to say we're scrounging around to raise the required money, but then how do you keep players happy? How do you sustain yourselves throughout the season?
Yeah, that was my question to Mo. You play for a team like WOW or a team like 10X. They have not affiliated.
I've actually had calls from players that are actually at one of the teams that you're talking about, and they are complaining that nothing is happening here. They are being promised signing on fees. They can't tie down anyone because they don't have the money to pay.
Just to digress a bit more, when these players call you, they're calling you in which capacity?
This is a yellow card.
Right, I'm a respected individual in the football circles, especially the players that are playing right now. They respect me for what I did on the pitch, what I did off the pitch. So because of that, I'm an elder to them. They always talk to me. And I also act as manager whenever asked.
We respect you more.
Yeah.
We respect you. That's why I wanted to give him a yellow card.
So I just wanted him to know.
No, I just understand why they called you. Because there's the Footballers Union of Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Then they call you.
Yeah. Footballers Union of Zimbabwe, I was also one of the guys who formed Footballers Union of Zimbabwe. So, yeah, I've got very strong links with players.
So as probably, let's put you in the shoes of the Premier Soccer League. You've got teams like this. What do you do?
The best would be to make sure that these teams do not participate, because it's saving yourself the embarrassment in future. Like Mako is rightly saying, these people may end up not being able to fulfill matches as we go. Matches is not only being able to get prison truck and traveling all the way to ZPC to Kariba to play a match.
Do they travel in prison trucks?
Well,
that's true. Maybe the players are telling him. I don't know. Since they call him.
Not necessarily, but I'm saying it's not only about transport, because they have got transport, but it's about everything else. You need to make sure the players are paid. You need to make sure everything else is sorted out. So as PSL, if I was PSL, I would say all indications show that they will not be able to sustain themselves in the league. Why not stop it before it happens? Yeah, and I would advise them probably to replace those two teams with teams that are capable, or probably teams that were in the league before, like Tail 1. Why? Because if, like they were suggesting that probably they would want to have 16 teams. To have 18 teams, it was not their call. It was ZIF actually who said they were going to be 18 teams. So if they were going to also come up and decide they will have a challenge with ZIF as well. Say, okay, how come you reduce the teams from 18 to 16? We never said.
So 60 days. We've spoken about the issue of stadia. We spoke about the issue of those teams that haven't affiliated.
Yeah.
You know, and everything else being equal in 60 days. What kind of a show are we looking ahead to?
Well, it depends on how hard you push, how hard you graft. I think we're looking forward to a good season, really. It's not about the start, it's how you finish, isn't it? So I'm just hoping that these guys will put their house in order. Cape United are saying now they are offloading some of the players that they signed. So in 60 days, that should be done. Dynamos will be putting their house in order. Highlanders need to put their house in order. Chicken Inn are probably the most affected because they're just eating good form. But hopefully 60 days we should be able to come back here and say Rufaro Stadium, Guanzure and the national sports are up and running. Then we can have football, because that's what we want. We want the game to be played. We talk about the game so much, at times it just needs to be played.
You were talking about how you start, and already we have started in terms of our football season, because we had the season opener.
Yeah.
I was particularly impressed by Silas Songani. This is one of the moves that he made when they played against Highlanders.
Yeah, let's give it time.
So there's some of the stuff that we'll be looking forward to. I know you can't wait for the season to start, not because of what Songani did there, but because of that anticipation. You are a football person. You know, the teams are there, although some have not affiliated, but you can't. What kind of a season are you looking ahead to?
I'm looking forward to a very entertaining season. Why? Because I think the top three, the traditional big three, are trying to put their house in order. Dynamos went on a shopping spree. Boso has got some good players who are not yet gelling, I would say. Then Cape United has a strong team that actually challenged last year. I expect them to be challenging again. But then there is also Chicken Inn, there's also Ngezi Platinum, then there's also FC Platinum. And I really get worried when I look at how Boso failed to handle a 50% fit Silas Songani. When he gets to 100%, then what is going to happen? No, but we talked about this when we were talking about the selection of the Chan team. And I said Songani is supposed to be part of the team.
Why?
I think I'm vindicated
by
his performance. The other guys that are in the team were on that pitch. But he was the most outstanding player.
So I support you. Marco also said he was the best player.
No, being the best player, because he's marking by a boy called Divine Miribidi, and Highlanders are giving him space because they believe he's a dead end. I mean, come on.
He's going to be marked by another Divine Miribidi from Dynamos. Exactly. They're still going to give him space.
Exactly. No, but if truth be told, I think he brings to the league something that we rarely see. A player who believes that I can dribble past you. And a guy like that is very dangerous. we are full of players who just bump into people like rugby players. They just hope that they've got too much power or bump past you. But Salo Sangwani will work his way past you and he'll work it so nicely, man. It was good to watch him play. If he doesn't get injured, I think on that calendar of 11 we'll probably see him.
Let's end it here. Muchirugu. I think it's great. It's been great having you on the couch. Your favorite football show right here on ZTN. My name is Howard Musonza.
And I'm Charmaine Chasweka. So today we were discussing the 2020 season and saying, is PSL ready? And helping us to flow was Probeatz. You know, before you actually close the show for us, I want to ask you something. You know, as an artist, what role do you think you and your fellow artists can actually, you know, play in creating awareness? We're also talking about, you know, the coronavirus and creating awareness about the virus.
You know, we can do these online concerts. You know, like, you know, come to ZTN and perform, wearing our masks and, you know, telling people to wash their hands, you know, all this, you know, because sometimes people won't really listen to someone wearing a suit at a TV, you know what I'm saying? But then they'll listen to either Japreza that they listen to every day, or someone like XQ, or, you know, Probeatz sometimes. But then I'm just saying, Guti, you know, I think we have a bigger voice when it comes to, you know, creating awareness. And
yeah, and you also talked about your album that you're launching this year.
Yeah.
But what else can we look forward to in 2020 from you?
I think the album for now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I've got a series called Captain Fombi. That's
Oh, by the way, this guy does skits.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
yeah.
interesting.
Superhero. I've got a series coming because, you know, I act as well. You know, I love doing, you know, all these art forms. So yeah, I've got Captain Fombi coming through as well. And then, you know, expect a lot of videos from me, man. You know, from the songs and, you know, a lot of beatbox. And we're looking to launch a beatboxing academy this year for young kids to come and learn, even adults who are willing to learn. But you know, like what you were saying, you know, because it's too late for me to be playing soccer now. But I'm there. You know, yeah.
That's a red card.
Late
in the game, off the ball.
That's a crude tackle.
Off the ball.
Hey.
Late in the game. I said red card offense.
So if, you know, fans and maybe people want to work with you, want to get hold of you, how do they do that?
If you're looking for me, you can find me on Probeatz Nation. That's on Instagram, Probeatz Nation. On Twitter, it's Probeatz with a Z, you know, not with an S. It's Probeatz, you know. Probeatz Nation and gmail.com if you're looking for me. Probeatz. On Cash, is it Probeatz?
I like that one.
Yeah, it's just Probeatz anyway. Probeatz Nation, yeah.
All right, thank you so much for coming.
No, thank you for inviting me.
You can hit it for the last time.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was the culture. DJ Probeatz on the court.